Welcome to episode number 424 of Get Paid for Your Pad. And today I'm super excited to be talking to Greg Westaway. He's the CEO and co-founder of Bnbbooking, a high-end accommodations management company out of Gold Coast, Australia. So Greg, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, Jasper. I'm very excited to be on today. Been a big fan for a couple of years since I got into this industry, and I don't know, I found you somehow, and you've been a good inspiration, and I've learned so much from so many of the people on the podcast. So very excited to give back.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. I'm excited too, because I know you're crushing it in Australia. You just told me you're onboarding a new luxury resort type of property with a gym and all sorts of cool stuff. So today we're gonna really dive into like what does it mean to build like a luxury, like high-end accommodation management company. So obviously there's differences between what you're doing and people who are renting out different type of units. So I'm excited to get into it, man. But let's start with how did you get started on Airbnb?
Okay. Yeah, look, it's a really good story. We had a property manager. The home I'm in right now was our holiday home, and we used to go away 6 weeks at Christmas every year. And I said, there must be some way I can get an income off this place, because it sits in the peak period idle, and I've got all these overheads. So my whole goal was actually just to pay private school fees. And I was at the bar and met a real estate agent who recommended me to a guy that did short-term rentals. Anyway, we put it with him, and he did an okay job, but he actually made us not enjoy our own home. So we couldn't make it the way we wanted it at all. And then he took a booking under what he would normally do it at. And I had an email, and anyway, long story short, I fell out with him because he took this booking that was well under the normal price that we would get anyway. And I then handed the property to my wife, and I said, right, I'm really busy. I'm in sales. You look after the property. And she instantly took it to outperforming this guy by double to 3 times. And then I did a property development, and we didn't sell these 4 townhouses, which were made for short-term rental, really, because they're close to a hospital, close to the city. And I just knew they'd rent amazing. And because it was a bad time in the market, I just rented them all. So then I left my job, what I was doing, and we had 6 properties of our own, and I got into short-term rental. So never looked back since then, and loving every minute.
Yeah, wow, that's impressive that your wife Holly, that she was able to 2 to 3x what that property manager was doing. So he was doing a pretty crappy job then, it sounds like.
Look, I've just found, and time after time when I pick up a property, these managers that have been doing it for years are using such old ways of doing it. They have a low rate, a mid-term rate, and a high rate, and just have no concept of what the property is worth. And the best example, my number 1 property up at Noosa, which is a beautiful high-end home in an amazing location. In 1 month, what he got for the year, over a whole year, just before the pandemic, I took it over July 1. So pretty much right when the pandemic had happened. And he had the year before. I did what he made in 1 year and 1 month.
Wow.
It was insane.
Crazy. That's crazy.
And for the year we did 5 times.
So
on the same property.
What did you do different than him? What was the main changes that you made?
Okay, so we went up there with a plan, and I'd ordered stuff on Facebook Market on the way. So all I'd done is seen his real estate listing, and I went, right, this is what I need. We walked in the door, and it was almost unrentable. Like literally almost unrentable. The bifolds wouldn't fold. The bedding looked terrible. The styling was terrible. And I said, look, I rang up the owner who was living in Hong Kong, and I said, we're gonna have to spend 15 to 20K on this and make it beautiful, and you're gonna love it. And he went, okay, let's do it. So lucky I had an owner that would do that, and we literally went 100 mile an hour, styled it amazingly and rephotographed it. And instantly we took it from, I'll give you an idea. We canceled a booking at Christmas, which is peak. And it was $1,000 a night booking that I had to take over. And we turned that booking in 6 hours into a $3,000 a night booking.
Wow.
Literally in 6 hours.
That was you instantly made that investment back.
In one booking.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, he couldn't believe it. So it was 10 nights and the best 10 nights of the year. And he was arguing over my extra guest fees because I'd taken over a booking that was for 5 people. And now because I'd changed the accommodation to sleeping 16 and it used to sleep 8, he then got another family in and wouldn't pay the extra guest fees. And I said, look, I'm all happy to refund you. Let me refund you now. We'll part company because I don't want you unhappy. But that's not the way we operate. And you booked a property that only slept 8. Now you've got 10 people staying. So it's a totally different booking. And he canceled. I said, great, fantastic. And we rebooked it for 3 times the value. And it's funny, I followed up the guy because I felt really bad. And I said, look, did the previous rental company, which I took over, I said, did they find your accommodation? Oh, no, they can't find it. It's fully booked out. And I went, you let go your accommodation for, and I think the extra guest fees were only $50 a person. So we're talking $250 a night. So it went from 1,000 a night to 1,250, not 3,000. Well, I did tell him at the time, I said, I'm going to rent it for way more than that. But look, I'm happy to honor what our extra guest fee rate is.
Yeah.
And he went back to the agent and the agent had nothing for him. So he didn't have a holiday. So I was just gobsmacked.
So I guess because you have all these high-end properties, I guess for you, there's a lot of investments that you would typically do into these homes to create that really high-end experience, right? So what are some of the like the best investments that you can do to turn something into a luxury property? Yeah,
look, I think the styling is everything. So when we sell a dream in a photograph. So you've got to have it beautifully styled. You know, the linen and the bed's got to look amazing. The photographs on the wall have got to all blend in with the styling. And then you've got to be able to accommodate the right number of people. So that home is a good example. It was a 70 square home and only slept 8. So it had dual living, and the living down the bottom, we turned into another bedroom because it was really just a sort of a void with doors in it. So I changed that into another bedroom. So we took it from 4 to 5, and we took the sleeping up to 16 from 8. So it just made it a whole different price point. But more important than that, we made everything work. You couldn't even open the bifolds of this property. So you'd get in and you go, this beautiful deck overlooking this amazing backdrop of Noosa National Park, but you couldn't open the doors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just making everything work and style beautifully and photograph beautifully. I mean, the photographs of the property were terrible. So photographs are everything. We sell photographs. But, you know, with this new property that we just started up and we're just kitting out, look, I got a high-end stylist interior designer to do it. Unfortunately, she's blown herself up because she blew the budget out. So when you set up some Airbnbs and, you know, Sean Rokovich talks about setting him up for like 4,000. Well, this lady was already up to 140,000.
Wow.
For this 6-bedroom home. So it's funny. I bought all the TVs for it. I bought all the gym equipment. So I know what I want. So it has the, you know, like this just has high-end everything, so that when people get in, they'll go, wow, you know, and they'll leave an amazing review. But yeah, I felt really bad for this. And look, they're, you know, they've got an amazing home and they wanted to kit it out beautifully, but she just didn't go to budget in terms of what the brief was. And I get how some people run away with it, but then you know, anyway, we'll end up with a great result with very high-end furniture. But yeah, you've got to make it styled beautifully.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you mentioned it because, as you know, Eric and I just bought an existing Airbnb business, and we had a similar experience, and we think there's a lot of opportunity, as you mentioned. You know, there's beautiful properties, there's beautiful homes around the world that are being managed kind of in a very old school way, where there's so much potential to upgrade the experience. And it's crazy to hear that you were able to triple the price just by, you know, investing some money into the home and changing the experience, changing the style of it, right?
Yeah, look, it's just, no, these property managers don't take an interest in the property. They literally don't. So when we go there, generally we go and stay there, and we kit it out while we stay there. And, you know, it's like a working bee for a weekend or whatever. And we're just on the phone buying stuff, having delivered, going to my car, which I think I need to change, is a BMW X3 wagon, you know, so it's fairly big, but that thing has been stuffed to the brim so many times with when I go to the shops where I can't fit another thing in it, where I'm pushing things through the window to actually put it in my car, and the whole back folds down, and the whole boot's full. So I've got to get one of those, you know, like Mercedes vans or something, you know. And, you know, I've sort of always never wanted to drive a van, but it's sort of an occupational hazard. And, you know, it was good that you told me you get your hands dirty with this new property, because it's a great experience building something. It really is. When you see the finished product and you list it, it's very exciting. And we're very conscious of what the owner will let us spend, but we're very honest with the budget we set. So I don't be unrealistic. And, you know, like when I bought this expensive gym equipment for this Mulaney house, I just said, look, this is what I would love to put in. Are you comfortable with all that? And she went, no, that sounds amazing. Perfect. All right, I'm ordering it now. And I just order it all, and I just build them.
Yeah.
So I don't wait for them to pay for it. I just order it, and then I build them. You know, obviously you've got to have enough confidence in the person you're taking over that they're going to pay you. But all the property owners that I've dealt with have no issue at all.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about the guest side. Like, obviously, when you have these high-end properties, the guests that you get, they're paying a really high price. What kind of expectations do these people have when they stay at one of those units?
Yeah, good question. Okay, so if I've got this amazing property called Burleigh Hamptons, and it's one of the only properties that I actually go and meet the guests at, because it is simply the most amazing property I've ever walked into. And I have been into some amazing properties, but this one, the fit out, the level of detail is just next level. So I just really like to walk people through. It has all C-bus, so it's quite complicated to stay there, and its minimum stay price is $3,500 a night. So it's normally $5,000 a night. For that type of level of spend, I think meeting someone and showing them through how it works is sort of expected, because it's sort of like being the concierge when you walk into a high-end villa. They will always show you where the lights are, the aircon, et cetera, et cetera. So this one's quite complicated. It's the only property I meet and greet at, just because it's so complicated. And the last thing you want to get there is you can't turn the TV in, because it's got an iPad for the TV. You know, stuff like that. So it's not just flick the button and away you go. So I check them in. I also point out, you know, I normally have a bottle of French champagne in the fridge. I have a 6-pack of beers there, and I have chocolates on the table just for kids. So everyone gets something. So mum's got the champagne, dad's got the beer, and the kids have got the chocolates. So they instantly walk in and get an amazing experience. Oh, that's just what we wanted. We've only just come from the airport. I need a drink, you know, so they can open a champagne or whatever it is. And the next thing I do is midterm cleans. So if it's longer than 1 week, always got to have a midterm clean. And people at that level expect it. So, you know, the other good thing about checking a guest in is that you've inspected the property yourself. So you can't have that cleaner nightmare, or you can't have someone I say that the property wasn't cleaned beautifully because I had every opportunity to tell you while we're there. And at that level, the last thing you want is a cleaning mistake. So, they're the makers and breakers of our industry. And, that property is the best example.
So when guests have higher expectations, right, because you're charging a higher rate, like how do you make sure that you're still getting like consistent 5-star reviews? Because, if people paying that much money, then, the expectations must be pretty high.
They are. And it's funny, I've got a couple of young bookers that have booked it recently. So young guys, that big high flyers that can afford that sort of money. I get to know them. So I'm almost like their friend. And, that everyone goes, oh, what was that bed you slept on? That bed, what is that? Because it's a Californian king, so it's extra big. So they go, what? Just get me the model and brand. I'm ordering one, and, he left his jacket behind. So I rang him up. I said, look, you've left this beautiful jacket in the wardrobe. Where can I ship it to? It's sort of personalizing the whole experience, just with a few details. It doesn't take much time, but, going the extra level, ringing the housekeeper and saying, can you look when you change the linen, give me the model of the bed, and getting back to the guy. Just simple stuff like that. And then they'll leave an amazing review. And I always ring them the day before checkout, and just say, look, just letting you know, tomorrow, what time's your flight? If you need to stay later, I haven't got a booking, so no issue at all. I can push the cleaner back. It's very flexible. And it's like, oh, wow. Okay. I thought we had to be out by 10, that's great. We don't have a flight till 3. So can we stay there till lunchtime and then get sorted? No problem at all. And that it just leaves such a better experience.
How do you find the property owners? Because I know there's a lot of people that want to manage luxury properties, but how do you find those properties, and how do you connect with those owners? Okay,
great question, and there's no one answer to that. There literally isn't. I've started doing SEO on my website with really trying to capture this, and we're really sort of starting to ramp up the social media. But all of my big properties I've really got from referral or word of mouth, so that they know that we're doing really well in the business. And generally my website's my best sales tool. So if you jump on the website and you have a look at the properties at www.bnbbooking.com.au, the first thing you see is 3 amazing properties, and they're all different. One of the things that I was really struggling with the Legends X was the guest avatar. Because mine's so broad, it literally is, but I really singled it out to high-end families as being my guest avatar. And how do I market to them? Well, I'm lucky that I know a lot of high-end people that have beautiful homes. So the new one we've brought on, we've been managing their unit up at Noosa, and they've now bought 2 homes at Mullaney. So like your sort of free wild type thing, but much more high end. So like the first property they bought is 30 acres in rural, a beautiful location, creek as well. And they're knocking the whole thing down and building a purpose-built accommodation for me. So they're spending millions on this beautiful accommodation. And then they needed somewhere to stay when they go up there while it's getting built. So they bought down the road this new 6-bedroom one. So I've ended up with 2 amazing properties. One's, probably 18 months away, but the other one's available now. And we don't take possession of it till the 2nd of November, but we've literally nearly bought everything for it. So it's got TVs, gym, everything, and it all gets delivered on the 3rd. So we're sort of just hitting the ground running. But getting back to your story of how did I find them? Another good story is Paddington. This guy I knew had this amazing Noosa property, but he said, oh, look, I'm happy with the agent up there. I've got this property in Brisbane though, and let's see how you go with that. So I took Holly in and she goes, are we really taking this on? Walk through the door and it's just the renter had just trashed this place, like literally just run. Beautiful location, nicely renovated place, massive backyard. And I got back on the phone. I said, look, we've got to redo this whole place. And we shot the lights out with it. He got on long-term rental, 700 a week, take the agent's fee out, 650 a week. He probably netted after all expenses only about, probably about 25,000 for the year. We netted him 95. So we nearly went forward with that. And he just went, right, okay, you can have my Noosa, my beautiful Noosa phone. But, you know, once again, we walked into that and we went, oh my God, nothing works. So, yeah, just great stories. And then they tell people it's momentum. It literally is. You just have to talk to a lot of people. And it's funny, with a high-end home, they want to know you. You know, the Rivermead estate, I knew from cycling years ago. I hadn't seen him for 10 years. I knew he's a very successful property developer. I ran into him at a function at the casino and I just said, I really want to look after your home. I just said, I love it. I think it's beautiful. It's very much what we do. And I've looked online and you have no presence other than your website. So I'm going to go into markets that you're not in. I said, I'm happy for you to run your own website if you still want to do it, which he did want to do because he had a full-time lady doing it. But she was just not reaching out to the markets of Airbnb, VRBO. Obviously, you can't put a property like that on booking.com because you've got to be able to say no to the guests. But yeah, it's funny. You just need to talk about it. You need to, you know, get your website looking amazing. And then you need to get your SEO happening so that you're coming up on searches like luxury accommodation.
You have a sales background. So imagine once you're talking to an owner, I imagine it comes pretty natural to you to pitch them the management and you know, close the sale. But for people who have like no experience with sales, what are like the top 3 things to think about when if somebody would talk to a property owner to try and manage the home?
Okay, I think you need to listen what they want. So what is it, your holiday home that you just want to use occasionally, or is it your investment property you want to maximize your return? What do you want out of the property? Because at the end of the day, I want to make you happy and align with you what your goals are with this property. And I think that's super important because I've picked up properties because agents have no service. They don't get back to them, and their property gets run down because they don't look after it. So I said, look, the difference that we are is where Holly and I, we're a husband and wife team that treat your property like it's our own. So we look after it beautifully. We have it, you know, you're going to be checking into the Sheraton every time you check in. So everything's going to be styled beautifully, all your amenities done, and you're just going to go, wow, how good's this? I feel like I'm checking into a hotel. And you really just sort of make them feel comfortable with you, I think, is the most important thing. You really sell that you're going to look after their investment, because this might be their biggest investment they have. You know, and these properties are, the Burleigh Hamptons is a $10 million property. Rivermead is a $25 million property. The new one that we just took on, they paid 3.8 million. The one at Noosa is 8 million. So these are big numbers. So it might not be, you know, some of those owners have a lot of money, but some of them don't. So that is their number one investment. So with people with a lot of money, they want to know that they're going to maximize their return, because that's why they've got a lot of money. So you're going to talk about maximizing returns. And the other style of person that just wants, I've got 2 doctors and we've got a Noosa apartment, they just want to know it's looked after. And when they check in, it's beautiful and everything's there. That's as simple as it is. They don't care if they get a return.
Mhm.
You know, and this is another great story, but I took it over because I managed another unit in the same building. And this unit is a 10 square 60s apartment, but the one in the same building, six units in the same building, just sold for 2.3 million. 10 square apartment, tiny, 2.3 million. Good views of Little Cove, the #1 spot in Noosa, very hot right now, real estate. We took it over, and this property rented for January, the biggest month of the year, grossed 2,800 for the week. For the month, 2,800 for the month. For that same apartment, so upstairs from it, literally one underneath each other, we grossed 14,800 in the same building, 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom. So one unit, another unit. And that story just got up, you know, the owners talked and they said, well, we're really happy with Westy. He looks after our home and we check in, it's beautiful. And she said, oh, my agent won't even ring me back. They don't even ring me. You can't even ring them. They're always too busy. So we're never too busy. So I think you've got to be contactable. Number one, you've got to sell yourself, and you've got to sell that you're going to look after their home.
Mm. Let's talk a little bit about what's happening in Australia. I remember when you were going through Legends X program, Australia was in lockdown. You couldn't travel to Australia, but you were seeing record prices on a lot of your listings, right? So has the lockdown been good for short-term rentals in Australia?
The lockdown was amazing for us up until July, when all of New South Wales went into lockdown. And then shortly after, all of Melbourne went into lockdown, which took out a lot of our high-end bookers. They've all wanted to come to Queensland. So now I just lost 80% of my market, literally overnight. And that is just got certainty again now. So like we've now opening the borders December 17. So since that was announced 2 or 3 nights ago, bookings have gone ballistic. Like literally, the activity has gone from literally, it was up here and then it dropped off a cliff, and now it's just gone like this. So now people have certainty, because we were doing lots of snap lockdowns. You know, you at 10 a.m. They'd call a lockdown for 4 in the afternoon. There's people's weddings that were on that day.
Wow.
You know, imagine having a wedding and you're getting married and you can't have the reception. Like, I was just like, wow. And I was so happy that I didn't have someone in that situation, you know, in one of my properties, because imagine dealing with that. And we do weddings. So we, you know, the place at Highfield, we do weddings. So imagine having people having to be in lockdown and not have the guests turn up, and they found out on the morning. So yeah, it has been good, and it was amazing till June, because everyone was holidaying in Australia and no one was locked down. So that went really well. But when everyone got locked down, it was horrendous. Like literally, our sales dropped by 80% in like overnight. So we're now coming up by 80%. So that's good. So we're smiling again.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's interesting because a lot of people have postponed their weddings during COVID. So we're getting a lot for our new business in the outer wilds. We're getting a lot of requests for weddings in 2022, even 2023, because everyone's postponed their wedding, right? So I'm sure you're going to have a lot of weddings as well in the next couple of years.
We what we did for all our bookers is we just did travel credits. So we have this backlog of bookings, and no one could rebook because they didn't know when it was going to open up. And the other problem was we had the snap lockdowns. But look, Australia will be 80+% vaccinated by December everywhere. So it's just opening up. We've just gone, right, that's enough. Enough is enough. It is what it is. And I think international travel's resuming into New South Wales November 1. So everyone's got certainty again, which is fantastic. So you can rebook. And weddings was the hardest thing, because how do you just change your wedding day and all your, your friends, and then New South Wales gets locked down. So then the family of those people can't come, and, so yeah, there's a huge backlog. And yeah, my big advice for you with your wedding is have a separate listing, a wedding listing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a totally different price point. With Highfield, we have a price point that starts at $1,500 a night, and it goes up to about $6,500. And the wedding sits at 2 nights for $7,500 for the accommodation. So I find having multiple listings really helps with revenue for the owners. So this new property, we'll have, I'm setting up another rural property at Brookfield, and we're going to have 3 versions of the listing. So we've got the main house, and then you've got the option to have the guest house, or you can have the guest house separately. Just book that at last minute. I'll open up the calendar only 2 weeks before. So if we haven't booked the main house, I'll get some booking at a cheaper price point, and then I'll have a wedding pricing. So it's all about promoting your listing to a wide range of people and maximizing the return. So, we find the wedding listing purpose built is a great revenue lifter or booster for the owner.
Yeah, that's a great one. So now that Australia is opening up, do you have any travel plans?
I can't wait to go. Like, I'm literally, we had booked for Bali for 2 months starting December, but unfortunately Bali hasn't opened up to us. So we've got timeshare there. So I wanted to do what you did and just, go and hang out somewhere for a while, and just to have a break, because we've been working flat out literally for 18 months. Like, the pandemic's been great for us because we just only could work.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm ready for that big break where I can,
Yeah.
we've from Legends X, I've got the VAs now, and we're really happy with them. We've skilled them up. I've got a tech guy. I've got a lady who's an ex Airbnb case manager. So
Nice.
she's very familiar with that system. So she's fantastic, and she's got lots of experience. So her name's Maria in the Philippines, and she's been a big help. So the VAs have meant that we can sort of not be the hectic host. And the playbook means that I can pass this information on to them. So, my 2 big things I wanted out of Legends X was some type of playbook or systems that are all documented. My systems were all up there.
Mm-hmm. In your head.
We have amazing systems in terms of, we had a great PMS in uplisting. We had fantastic pricing support with Price Labs, and we had great properties, and we were across multi-channels, and we had a great website. So we already had all those systems, but I didn't have a playbook. I didn't have VAs to help me. So they were my takeaways from the Legends X. And for anyone who's starting out, I think it's a must. So, big plug to you, big must. They must go and join the Legends X, and it will just get rid of the heartache of finding the right PMS, finding the right cleaning software, finding the right pricing software, and all those things linked together and getting your own website are really the catalyst to moving to the next level. So I just think you can't do it on your own. The more groups you're part of, the more you learn. And we were lucky. We started, when I jumped on board, I got promoted, Nicole and Aaron's B&B professional in Australia. And I just said to my wife, if I get one good idea from them, I'm happy. I only go in with just one good idea. With yours, it was 2 good ideas. I said, I wanted the playbook and I wanted the VAs, and that's it. That's all I wanted out of it. And to be part of another community. That was the other thing. So as soon as I heard you talk about it on your show, I instantly wanted to jump on board. Like I rang Julie George and she said, I'm part of it. And So you know, small world. And Julie, we met through B&B Professionals. So I'd already met her, and she's just the most engaging person, giving. You know, anyone on who gets her as their mentor is blessed, because she is such a great giving person, and doesn't hold back on any ideas or advice. So you know, that's, I was lucky. So when I jumped on board, she said I could be a coach, but you can reach out to me anytime. So that's why I asked for you to be my coach, because I didn't know you personally, and I just watched the show. So I was very keen to get your spin on different things.
Awesome. And yeah, I appreciate the words. And of course, Judy is amazing. Everybody thinks she's amazing, and we're super happy to have her on the team. And yeah, it's great to hear that you got the value out of the program. It's been a lot of fun to have you on the calls as well. It was getting up early for you, so I think the calls were like 6 a.m. or something for you. Where was it?
5 a.m. for us.
5 a.m.
It was more getting Holly out of bed, and you know, just waking up at 4:30, having a shower, waking up and going, right, okay, straight into the course at 5 a.m. Like, get the coffee going. And no, it's good. Look, for us, it worked out well, because we have a 2-year-old and he comes in at 6. So it literally was the golden hour for us. So I'm, you know, it was perfect really for me. Like, I had no problem with getting up to learn something about our industry. And I think you can never stop learning. It's a constantly evolving business, and you just, I constantly watch Airbnb automated on YouTube videos, and I pick up something every single time off his video. And you know, the other day when I was watching it, and you know, this place, I have a spa and I've got a TV above the spa, and I just watch YouTube stuff, and he's always, because I watch a lot, he always comes up, and he came, and just the full-length mirror, people forget in an apartment or whatever for a woman, you know, just, and I went, you know what, it's never been on my checklist. And I went, why is that not on my checklist? My wife's always needed a full-length mirror. So yeah, it just, you always just pick up some little detail that will make a big difference to someone. And I just think you just need to immerse yourself in this business, and just keep learning, and open yourself up to ideas or different trends or what's happening in your market. And you've just got to constantly watch what's going on with your listings and your bookings and your pricing.
Awesome, man. I love the advice. Just to wrap up this podcast, if people want to travel to Australia and stay at one of those amazing properties that you have, like, how can they find you?
Okay, best thing to do is jump on my website, www.bnbbooking.com.au, and then give me a call, and I'll come up with the right solution for you. So, but with the high-end properties, often you need to talk to the person, and that's why having your own website is so important, because a lot of people find me on Airbnb and then they find me on my website. So it's like my leader into my website. And you know, they want to feel, if they're going to pay $3,000 to $12,000 a night, they want to know that this property is everything. So they often want to talk to people. So please reach out to me, and I love to say whether the property suits a person, and what we can do and what activities we can set up. So like your free wild, we have this amazing property at Tyalgum. They has a farm manager that will do clay pigeon shooting, whip cracking shows. He'll do catering, different things like that. So reach out and see what we can do.
Awesome. So it's bnbbooking.com.au.
Yeah, so just think of, I stole it from Airbnb, so BNB, and booking.com, and I took the two biggest brands and I just combined them. And it was just as simple as that. I just thought, okay, that's me.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's how we came up with our brand, and it's worked really well. And unfortunately, I do get rung a few times. Are you booking.com or are you Airbnb? because you can actually get my number, whereas you can't get their numbers. You have to delve really deep to find a phone number for those people. But with mine, you can find the number. So happy for you to ring me.
Awesome. We'll put up the links on the show notes on Get Paid for Your Pad. But I would recommend if you are interested in doing luxury rentals, check out Greg's site, because it's just worth having a look at the properties, and the way that he's designed the website is really good. So check it out, www.bnbbooking.com.au. Awesome, Greg. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been a lot of fun, and hopefully I'll be able to visit you yourself and Julie in Australia sometime in 2022.
Yeah, well, Julie's only down the road, and we had a great catch up in Burleigh. So yeah, we'll look forward to it. I've got a great lunch venue to take you to. You'll
Awesome.
love it.
I heard all the stories from Julie, so I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
All right.
All good.
Thanks for the listeners as well. We have another episode coming up, of course, on Friday. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.